Top Gun reject. Hello, everybody. And sorry, I'm mocking Mike there. Welcome to today's show, which, as I'm sure you can see along the bottom, we're going to be talking about the power of a strong personal brand with our guest, Caisha, who I know that Mike is going to introduce in a little bit. But before then, we've got a little bit of an attention seeker over this side of the screen. Hi, Big Mike. How you doing?
I like to be called Holiday Mike because I'm on my holidays this week, and this is the dedication to the cause. I'm still on the show, partly because, because the dedication to the cause. Also, it's very keen to be on the show with Caisha. So, not necessarily you, Kirst, but it is. But I'm going to take these off now because I do feel a bit of a dork in them. Yeah.
Where are you on holiday, Big Mike? Do you want to show? Do you want to show people where you are?
I'm going to put these back on then very quickly so we can do this properly.
Yeah, here we go. I don't want to ruin
this. Is the view from my study in Wales. There we go. Look at that.
It's the Irish Sea.
It looks a bit green and a bit angry. And later, if we're very lucky, as the show progresses, the water will come and break on the window because it's a spring tide at the moment, so it's very high.
Very exciting, very exciting. So, Mike, would you like to introduce our lovely guest that you're very excited about?
I would,
today?
Yes, Caisha. So, okay, just very quickly. Okay, Caisha used to work for Crimson, and I used to work for Crimson as well. We never worked there at the same time, but I was well aware of what she was doing and blown away by it, by the way. She no longer works for Crimson. She's now independent and still doing those great things and more of them. And the reason I wanted her to come on the show and talk about personal branding with us is because we've been teaching personal branding since about 2004. And I reached out the folder. In fact, I didn't bring it on holiday with me, but I reached it out in meaning to. And I skimmed through it. And basically, personal branding in those days came down to four things. It was your appearance, how you spoke, the accessories that you had, and how you treated people. And all of that really was very focused on how you appear. Okay, so in person. But the world has moved on massively since then. So personal branding is more important than I think that it's ever been. But it's moved away from that. So that's still important when you meet people. Of course it is. But the first time you meet people is likely to be online, which is Caisha's area of expertise. So welcome to the show. I'm really looking forward to what you've got to say today with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited to have you.
We are very excited to have you. We are. So, right, let's get the ball rolling. As always, when we have the show, if you have any questions for Caisha or for Mike, mostly for Caisha as we go through, please let us know in the comment section. I know Caisha is very excited to look after them and come up with, and I'm sure we'll have questions as well. So, first of all, let's just get everybody on the same page, Caisha. As Mike mentioned, personal brand used to very much be in person, but it's a bit different now. Can you just give a description of what personal brand is in today's world?
Yeah. So in the simplest form, your personal brand is your perception. So it's how you promote yourself. And it's like a unique combination of your skills, your experience, your image, your tone of voice, how you speak to people and how you put yourself out there online. But in the simplest form, it's the perception and how you promote yourself.
Someone said to me years ago, and I've used this a lot, your personal brand creates an expectation.
Yeah.
And you must make sure that expectation is what you want it to be. And that's always stuck with me. I think that's a pretty good way of describing it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's that expectation, but also if you're clear on it, you put out the messaging that you're clear on what you want to be known for, then people know what to expect, like you said. So all around perception and how people see you. So how do people talk about you when you're not in the room? What do they, in the nicest sense, but what would they know? What would they know you for? So if you're not sure of that, maybe you're not sure of what your personal brand is, and it's time to kind of do some work on it. But think if someone was to have a chat about you when you're not there, how would they be talking about you? How would they be introducing you? From the kind of job title to personality to kind of who you are as a person, but what is your perception and how would people be talking about you when you're not there as what you do?
And the big difference is that I think is that in the past that was very much personal when you met them or when you gave them your business card or something. But now it's that first meeting is almost certainly going to be online, isn't it? It's what they see when they Google you or go on LinkedIn or whatever. That's where it's moved to these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all moved online now. So if you think of influencers, so like Instagram influencers or influencer marketing, people are buying into people based on what they're putting out there online. So you're seeing a lot of influencers being able to promote businesses and brands now because they've built that know, like, and trust factor by constantly putting themselves out there, even if it feels awkward or cringe, which because not everyone is an extrovert and this is normal for them. So by putting yourself out there, and I almost treat it as like, let's say you're in an in-person conference, you're relationship building, but bring that online. So put yourself out there and show who you are as a person, because like you said, people are making their buying decisions, who they like decisions based on what you're putting out there online. So if you've got nothing, they're going to have no opinion on you in the first place.
Or if you're just boasting about what you've done or talking about your company all the
yeah.
time, it's not that interesting, is it really, to be honest?
No, I think that's quite an icky approach and one that people quickly get uninterested in. It's about being valuable and being like a valuable, source, but also building a connection with people beyond just, here, I've got something to sell you. I'm going to just keep talking about what I'm selling every day, because people will unfollow you and they won't be interested in who you are or what you've got to say.
Pete has this thing, he says, if you went to an event, a networking event, and talked to people and all they talked about was themselves and work, you'd soon make an excuse and move on. So why do that online, really?
100%. And we're all human. So personal branding is about humanizing yourself. In reality, we're all human. We're all at home, or you're obviously in your lovely holiday home. We've all got our own lives beyond business. So mixing those two, like how you would normally chat to someone in a conference, bring that online. Like obviously, don't always just talk about yourself. Bring some of the business side into it, but you're human at the end of the day. So humanize what you're doing.
Yeah, very much so.
Perfect. Okay, and I know we've sort of briefly touched on it in what we were just speaking about, but so we understand what a personal brand. Why is it so important to have one? Like, what does it bring me? What advantages? I mean, we briefly touched on it then, but do you just want to sort of clarify it?
Yeah, of course. So essentially, having a personal brand brings you opportunities. So whether that's new career opportunities, progression opportunities, business opportunities, it makes things so much easier. So if you think about, let's say you're in business, you're trying to sell to someone, they don't know who you are, you've got like no profile picture, you've got no videos, you've got nothing about you, no reputation, and you're constantly having to kind of cold call or cold DM people, cold outreach. It's so much more difficult than building a brand for yourself. You attract clients in, or you attract careers or jobs in. Or if you do some outreach, they click on your profile, they see who you are, or they might know someone that you know, look at your recommendations, and they're more open to kind of talking to you. So it brings opportunities by putting yourself out there as you, building a kind of relationship as you, and not always having to do the kind of hard work slog, get ignored by new, business opportunities, get ignored by jobs. It creates opportunities.
The interesting thing about that as well is that I read a statistic, which I'm not sure whether it's true or not. You'd probably be able to put us right on this, but something like only 3% of people that see what you post actually react with it. They'd like it or comment on it or whatever. It's very tiny. But the 97% or whatever the actual figure is, who don't interact with it, still see it. And I don't know whether you've had this, but I've had it loads of times. People who I didn't even know had seen any of my stuff refer to it, they in a comment or maybe face to face if I meet them, and I had no clue that they'd seen it. So this isn't just about measuring your impact by the interactions, is it?
No, not at all. And that's what I say to people, because I think some people get worried, like, oh, I'm not going to get many likes, or I'm like, it doesn't matter. Over time, people will see what you're putting out there. I get it as well. People say, oh, I've been watching your videos. I'm like, I would have had no idea you were watching my videos. And people can either buy into you straight away and want to buy from you straight away, or want you to offer you a job straight away, or it can take time. So relationship building, putting yourself out there takes time. So it's those touch points and consistency. But yeah, I'd say don't worry too much about the likes. It's more about kind of the opportunities will come over time. And if you keep worrying about likes on individual posts, you'll just keep taking them down. So, oh, I've not got many likes from that. Where in actual fact, you don't know. Even if one person sees it and you add value to one person, in my eyes, you've done your job.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I think that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
So sort of on that, because of all those advantages, I am assuming then that nobody can escape a personal brand. Everybody needs one, and everybody should consider it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. So whether you're just starting out in your career, or whether you've been in a career for a while, or whether you're in a business, you've got your own business, or in sales, you need one, because from a career point of view, you become an asset to your company. They start to see, oh, this person's got a good network. This person, is connected well. They've got a good brand. They know what they're doing, and they've become influential in their space. So you become sticky. You can get promotions. They're going to want to hold on to you. Also, you'll get other career opportunities. On a business side, it's so much easier to get sales in, to do business with people, because if you're putting yourself out there as you're building your brand, but then your competitor isn't, who are they going to go to? They're going to go to you, because they feel like they've got to know you by what you're doing online, and you're not just a blank face with not, they don't know anything about you. So from both sides of things, you need a personal brand now more than ever, because people are making their buying decisions based on what they see online. So I know I'm the same.
That's a very
on
good
Instagram.
point. Do you know, with referrals, I'm sure you get this, pretty much everybody who's referred to me has checked me out online first.
Yeah.
And so, oh yeah, I saw your so-and-so video, or I saw this, that, and the other. And you think, well, oh yeah, well, so-and-so gave me your name and I went to check you out on LinkedIn. They never really say that, but that's clearly what's happened.
Yeah.
And I think like you said, whether you like it or whether you don't, everybody has a personal brand, because it's like a shorthand for you, really.
Yeah.
And so that's the deal. They look and they see what there is, and that's your brand. The trick is to shape it, isn't it? Which I know we're going to talk about in a minute, but the trick is to shape it to make it what you want it to be. And that's the key thing, isn't it?
So everyone does have a personal brand. You just might not have, like you said, defined it. It might not be very clear, or a very kind of strong one where it's very like people know what you stand for. So you're going to have one whether you like it or not, because everyone's got an opinion. And as your personal brand is your perception, so everyone's going to have a perception of you. It just might be quite a weak one, or they might not know where you stand or what you actually specialize in. So you just need to shape it into what you want it to be.
That's interesting. So everybody sort of has one. It's just depending on whether that is actually showing what you want it to or not, which is a really interesting point. So on that, as you know, I'm sure everybody who watches the show, we like things to be really practical. So now, Caisha, as far as I'm aware, you have some tips that people can use, or some steps that people can do in order to help create their personal brand to be what they want it to be. So what would the first one of those be?
Yeah. So the first step for me always is, number one, get clear on what you want to be known for. So if you're not clear on what you want to be known for, how is anyone else going to be clear on who you are and what you do? So getting that clarity around the space that you're in, what exactly you want to be known for, and also who your ideal clients is, or who your ideal companies that you're trying to attract are. So get clear on what you want to know for, but then optimize your profile to reflect it. So now you've got clear, now go ahead and optimize your profile, update it with what you want to be known for, who you help, and how, and what you do. Because again, if you haven't updated your profile, how's anyone going to find you, or know who you are and what you do? So
now that's interesting, because we suffer. I'm sure other people, or some viewers, will be the same as us, because we can do so many things, right? And we cover so many markets and do so many things. They're all focused in one area, really. But I think we'd got a weak personal brand, or I'd got a weaker personal brand, because I wasn't classed as the go-to guy for something. I could have been the go-to guy for a load of things, and therefore in many cases the go-to guy for nothing. So it is really important, isn't it, to be able and that headline that you talk about at the top of LinkedIn, that's kind of where it encapsulates it, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So I say, when you try and speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. Everyone wants to work with an expert. So your headline, I always say, have your job title, whether that's your own business or whatnot. So mine's a personal branding coach. Then your company, then your impact statement. So what you do and how you help people. So make that really clear. And then keywords. So you utilize your headline as much as possible, because it's like your shop window. Your profile is, when people click on it.
But the mere fact that you can do that means you will have thought it through. It's a sort of it's the end of the process in a way, isn't it? As soon as you can write that personal headline properly, you've nailed it. Would you say that was?
It's definitely a huge step, because if someone clicks on your profile and it's too iffy, or you've not got much on there, how are they going to know who you are and what you do? So if you think it through, then update your headline. You're going to be a huge advantage to building a really strong personal brand, for sure.
So do you have any tips on, because that, like, be clear on what you want to be known for is one of those things. It's a bit like explaining why 2 + 2 = 4, but it just does. Is there a way of sort of helping people? Is there questions they can ask themselves to just make sure that they are really find it easier to find out what they want to be known for?
Yeah. So I guess a few questions they can ask is, like, what are they good at? A key one. Where are their skills? But also, what are they passionate about? If they ask someone else what they're good at and what they want, where they feel like they should fit, ask people, in your own network. But where are your skills? What are you good at? Who do you enjoy working with? Where are your passions? And also have a look at, the recent things that you've been working on, whether that's in a career or business. What's been your most success? So where you've got the results, Obviously, as long as you enjoy that, then I'll just say
Mm.
try and focus in that area, because if you're trying to be too broad, everyone's not going to see you as an expert. So skills, some of the results that you've got, passions, and also what you enjoy doing. So if you've been doing something within your business, but you naturally gravitate towards one area and you feel like, you know what, I'm really good at this, people keep coming asking me about this, then why not just be the go-to person for that? Doesn't mean that you're not going to win other business. You will, but just be known for something so that, it's sticky then, and people can actually see you're not just another person who's trying to sell them everything. You're the go-to person for that thing. It'll lead to other opportunities, but where are you having those successes at the moment, and where do you enjoy working?
It's kind of the myth, isn't it, that if you limit yourself to something, that's all you'll get, and that is a
Yeah.
myth.
Oh,
That is a myth.
100%.
I think it makes it easier for people to. I love the word you use, sticky. It makes you stickier, so people think, oh, yeah, I understand what you are, and I want that, or I'd like to know more about that. And then
Yeah,
when they do, they find out that you can do all these other things as well. And so
that's it.
it's not doesn't preclude winning another business. It just makes it easier to do that
Yeah,
to begin with.
that's it. It just it opens doors, but I think everyone wants to work with that expert or the person that they know everything about that kind of space or that specialism, and you've really honed in on it. But like, it does always lead to opportunities and more opportunities and business. It's just nice to have a real good kind of opening of someone might be stuck with something, you help them with it, and then it leads to more opportunities.
Perfect. Fantastic. Okay. So we are now at the point where we are really clear what we want to be known for. And we've made sure our profiles online are reflecting that. What would be the next step?
So the next step is building your network. So this means go ahead and connect with people. This could be your ideal client. So again, get super clear on your ideal client avatar. So who are you trying to attract? It could be companies. So if you're trying to get into a career, it might be some of the directors at the companies, depending on where you're at. But go and build your network of people, who could be valuable to you, and also that you could be valuable to them. So right now on LinkedIn, there's a 100 limit connection request that you can do every week. So utilize it, send a personalized connection request and go ahead and build that network, build a community of people that you think you might be able to help. And that's where things will start to kind of grow. Then they might know people who they can introduce you to, but build your network, because network is what's going to get you opportunities.
Well, I did an interview some months ago now, actually, and someone said if you were starting again, you could only take one thing from you. Everything was taken away. Got one thing you could take with you. What would it be? And I suppose I should have said my wife and children, really.
I would never expect that from you, Big Mike. I would never.
Didn't say that. No,
No,
what I
never.
said was my network, because
Yeah.
because
Well,
with
we're
my
in your network.
Well, yeah, I don't
Good.
think Mom's in the network.
No, no,
she
probably not,
she
no.
I had to I've even unfriended her from Facebook, because she's no use to me. But she's not listening to this, I'm sure. But the
She
point
will
is
be.
that with the network, you can do anything.
Mm.
If you've got good connections, and I spent the last 33 years, or longer actually, since the mid 80s, I suppose, building relationships with people. Most of them are retired or dead, sadly, but I've got some new people as well, obviously. Well, you're one of them actually, Caisha, so that's good.
Yeah.
But to build people and not think about yourself all the time. It's about, well, okay, that person would be useful to my community. This is one of the reasons we run this show. At the end of the day, we bring people in not to sell to them or anything, just want people we think would be interesting to our community. And so it's not just about the people that you can kind of sell to, is it, or can introduce you to people you can sell to. It's anyone that can be useful to you or your community, I think, and that is so important. I think
And there's a saying which is your network equals your net worth, and I think that's a really good saying, because your network, they're gonna stay close to you if you build that relationship with them. Whether you decide to divert careers, divert business, even like how I've done, I've changed from a career into my own business. People will want to support you and kind of join you on your journey. So once you've got your network, they'll join you. They'll want to help you out and support you. So a big part of building your brand is building, getting people into your network, helping them out, adding value to them, because they're likely to become customers or be able to help you as well.
Yeah, I know we've got to move on, and Kirsty's kind of getting antsy. I can see that, but that's where the two things add together, don't they? Be clear of what you're known for, because then people are more likely to connect when you invite them or kind of gather around you, be part of your community.
Yeah. I actually do have a question. So we have a question from Pete, who just wants to muddle in on what we're doing. So he's asked, how do you balance your personal brand and the brand of a wider business when the business offers more service services than you do.
Yeah, I get it. So with a personal brand and what you put out there online, I always say to have 3 to 5 content pillars. So this means you're not just going to always post about the business, you're not always just going to post about you. So you'll have an overarching theme. So for example, mine would be personal branding. That's what I do. That's what I sell. Coaching services. But in that, I talk around things like imposter syndrome. I talk around things around entrepreneurship, like wellness. Some other people talk, business, mindfulness, anything that you're interested in. It could be fitness. So have an overarching theme of what your brand is and what message you're trying to get across. But then don't just be one dimensional. You can post about 3 to 5 different things in your content, which then makes you more well-rounded. So have an overarching theme and then have 3 to 5 content pillars of what you post about. Obviously, it could be your passions, it could be traveling, as Mike's doing now. Whatever you do in your kind of spare time, you can have that as one of your pillars.
Okay, perfect, fantastic. And we do have one thing before we move on to the next question, which is Paul's put in there that he qualifies as in your network as retired, not dead. So he wanted to make that very clear.
I kept him in though.
Thank you for clarifying that, Paul. That means a lot. Yeah. So what the one thing I really like about that as well is he's very proactive. It's not just waiting for people to come to you. It's actually being proactive and going out to get there. So what we've got is now we kind of know what we want to be known for, and we've made sure our online presence reflects that. We've now started building our network with adding people in it who are going to be valuable to us, not necessarily just for work, but also to sort of broaden our network, give us viewpoints on things we hadn't considered. What's the third and final step?
So the third step is to post valuable content for your niche. So, and also what's going to help your community. So start to get content out there. It can feel a bit awkward at first if you're not used to it. So I always say start with what you feel comfortable with, but do try and start. So whether that's 1 time a week to start with, build it up to 3 or 5, whatnot, but just start if you can. And that's a really big step to do. But post content that's going to add value. So don't just always speak about what you're selling. Think about your community. What pain points have they got right now? What are they struggling with, or what is their goal? And you want to post content that's going to help them achieve, their goals, help them overcome their pain points. So if they're struggling with something, post, here's my top 5 tips or top 5 steps to overcome this, or here's my top 5 steps to doing this, top 5 mistakes that people make in the industry, any kind of how to do, X, those types of things. Anything that you can post that's going to add value will be huge, because you'll position yourself as the authority and not just another salesperson. So
LinkedIn loves a story as well, doesn't it? So you don't just have to be mechanical necessarily, though sometimes really nailing it down to the key points is a really important approach, but sometimes you can bury the points in a story, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. So what I say, there's 3 main types of posts that you want to put out if you're looking to attract clients and new business. So one is value posts. They're like the how-to, types of posts. The second one is story and connection posts. So again, taking people on the journey with you. It could be, an experience you had and just tie it to a tiny lesson, or, just share a bit more about your story, your journey. And the third one is results. So if you post results for clients or client celebrations, it's a nice way of doing it, even if it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, without feeling icky, but you're just trying to sell them something, but you're celebrating a client's success. So value posts, story and connection posts, and results posts will be huge.
I think I that's a great way of putting it, by the way. Very simple, and I can get that. Even I can get that. So, but the story post, I published something just before I came away on holiday, just saying I was knackered and needed a holiday. I don't even know why I published it, really. I just felt tired, really, and a bit worn down, and I just put it out there, and I got 9,000 views, which is more than I normally get. To be honest, I don't normally get that many views, and I think it's because it resonated with everybody's feeling a bit like that, aren't they? So if you're telling stories or doing things like that, I think if you can catch the zeitgeist, I think the word is, isn't it? Of the moment, if the way people are feeling that way, you'll get a lot more traction around it and interaction with it.
And you'll always get people that resonate with you for being human as well. So just kind of, even though, again, it's can feel like, well, this is a bit daunting, but just dropping your guard a little bit, like realizing, LinkedIn is a kind of business networking platform, but beyond it all, we are all human. We all have our struggles. We all have like good days, bad days. And similar with me, when I started posting about like imposter syndrome and how it felt for me putting myself out there, I think you just relate to people who maybe have struggled with the same things or I have been, one of those times where they're tired and they feel like how you were feeling,
Hmm.
and it just makes you like them realize, okay, you're not just a kind of person just trying to sell to me. You actually are a human. You've got feelings, and I'm feeling the same. So they connect. That's how you connect with people.
Yeah, vulnerability opens other people up to being vulnerable
It's a
and forming a
superpower,
connection
as
with
Alan
you.
Kenny
It is.
says, our
It
friend.
is a superpower, and it's a big thing about building relationships. And Nikki's made a really good point here as well, which is your clients are a great reflection of that. So, figuring out what your clients are saying and sort of doing content around that as well, because obviously, that's of interest in your target market as well, which I think is another really, really fantastic point there around coming up with things to say. So I think so far this has been a fantastic show. So we figured out that, the first point is that you want to be super clear about what it is that you want people to know, what you want people to think of when they think of you. Then you go through, you make sure that your online presence reflects that. You then build your network intentionally with people of value to you. Use those 100 people on LinkedIn cleverly, smartly, connect with people who are going to be valuable, and then regularly post content that your community values. So that doesn't necessarily just have to be work stuff. It can also be things that are regularly about you and your team and the struggles that you're having and how you've overcome them to be great. In fact, Tom's made a really good point here. He said that how to posts get buried by the algorithm, and yet poll posts about the office snacks hit everyone's feed. And I think it's...
Do you know why that is, though? Because when you have a poll post, I read this actually, I'm not sure it's 100% true, but I believe it to be true. Poll posts are collecting data about people on LinkedIn, and that's what LinkedIn wants. It wants to collect data so it can advertise to them. I know they're cheeky little beggars, aren't they?
That's
really?
a very conspiracy theory basic thing, but I do enjoy it.
And different kind of updates with like social media will push the algorithm. So polls are working really well on LinkedIn right now. Instagram Reels are working. So that's why people use, the new updates and use them to their advantage. But yeah, sometimes you do see stuff that isn't that relevant on there. I agree.
That is true. Okay, so finally, Caisha, before we sort of move on, everybody who watches the show knows that at the end we like a really practical, we've talked about a lot, from sort of figuring out everything all the way through to posting a lot regularly. So somebody's sitting here, they're thinking, I'm going to sort my personal brand out. It's focus of the day. What's the first step? What's the first thing that they should do?
Yeah. So I would say if you can do one thing today or this week is go onto LinkedIn and update your headline to really kind of reflect what it is that you want to be known for. Get very clear on that. Honestly, it'll be huge because people will be able to search for you, so you'll be more searchable. And also, if you are connecting with new people, it will help. And also get a cover, kind of a headshot picture. You don't have to get it done professionally. Just get a little a little tripod or like a stand, or get someone to take it of you. But just get a real clear picture of you. That would be a huge first step. And once you've done your headline anyway, you would have already got clear on what you want to be known for, which is a massive step and something that a lot of people don't actually take the time to think about. What do I want to be known for? How do I want people to feel when they come to my profile? Who am I? So definitely get clear on what you want to be known for, but then update your headline and your cover picture. Then start to add people to your network, and you'll start to find when you're adding people, more people add you in return. You'll build your community, and you'll attract more people to your page as well and to your profile, not just always having to do the hard work of kind of adding new people yourself.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Caisha. I know I've got a lot of value from today because, I'm one of those people, I'm still building my brand, I'm still fairly early on. So it's been super, super helpful for me. So thank you so much. I know Mike's going to round off in a second, but what I'm going to tell you is next week, it's going to be just me and Mike, me and the Daddy-O, and we're going to be doing a way of how Mike manages. Mike's going to be explaining how he gets 90% of the people that he requests on LinkedIn.
Up to 90%.
Oh, sorry, up to 90%.
I think we're going to go with boost acceptance rates is what we're going to do. So it doesn't put me too much under pressure.
No, 90% is the number that I was told, but that's what we will be talking about next week for everybody to be available. So, Mike, do you want to take us home?
I do. Yeah. Thank you for that. Well, thank you, first of all, for Caisha for coming on the show today. I thought it's great stuff because it's like high level, but also very, very practical as well, which is exactly what we love on the show. Now, you're obviously a personal branding coach and you help people around personal branding. If people are interested to know more about you or how you help people, LinkedIn's the best way, I presume, is it? Connection?
Yeah, definitely. So LinkedIn, Caisha Sheikh is the best place to find me.
I'm hoping I spelt that correctly.
Yeah, you got it. That's
Oh,
good.
there you go. I'm dyslexic. I get things wrong. Eyes, knees are a bugger for me, really. But okay, so there you go. So if you find Caisha on social media, it shouldn't be that difficult. Put her name in and personal branding. I think you'll come out top. So that's okay. And
The
that'll
good
be
thing about having a unique name.
yeah. Well, if only I had one that couldn't be spelt about 10 different ways
That's
with
very
A's
true.
and I's and H's. But there you go. Anyway, so but thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been absolutely fabulous. I really
Thank you so much
appreciate
for
it.
having me. I loved it. Really
It's been a
enjoyed it.
pleasure.
Okay, and also thank you for Kirsty Elizabeth, of course, for being the chair on the Kirsty Ames Show.
Thank
So
you.
there you go.
Thank you for naming it
Okay,
properly.
guys, and we'll see you next week.